pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From high atop beautiful Fontana Speedway here in sunny Southern California, welcome to round 17 of the iSNF XFinity Series. Regular season finale tonight. It's all left to play for to get into the round of 12 for the playoffs. Tony Trapasso and Jonathan Leach up in the booth with you tonight for this one. And we're also being joined by the league manager, Miss Rhea Ferris. And Rhea, this is interesting. There's a lot of different scenarios that could play out here tonight.
Yeah, quite a few different scenarios. When you're in situation may occur here today, as well as some of the bubble drivers may be a surprise here this afternoon as well here in the Inland Empire region of sunny Southern California. It'd be interesting to see who takes home the prize and gets locked into the playoffs going into next week. And I forget where we're going to first round of the playoffs next week, but nonetheless, that's where we'll be. But guys, it's going to be clear skies out here, a little bit cooler temperatures than I would say than average this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're taking a look at the point standings that we were talking about. Alex Avrilson locked in with 6 wins, winningest driver this season so far, and max number of bonus points currently. Curtis Kelly locked in on wins. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Charles Robertson, Christian Delgado all locked in on wins. Marcus Hagman, James Bowles, Christian Malschrick, and yourself, Rhea, still on the inside, but you're not in a ton of dangers. There's other drivers behind you. The elephant in the room, though, is Peyton Hubbard has decided to go on hiatus to race dirt bikes.
Yes, that's correct. And, speaking for myself, this is the series I really want to make the playoffs in. I really want to make a go at it. And I'm the only driver this season who has made a start every single race this season. And it would be a darn shame if my 39 car couldn't make the playoffs. We've had some pretty good runs. And I'm just hoping today is another good run here. And yeah, with Peyton Hubbard, dirt bike racing, motocross, that does alleviate a little bit of the stress for me anyway. And it should relieve some stress for Mr. Steven Sear, driver of the number 7 JRM Chevrolet, out there as well. He would be the next bubble in. But I believe there are a couple other people there in contention as well that he has to be mindful of on the racetrack, where they are at all times, so he can make sure to finish above them.
Yeah, exactly. Jason Ricketts being the most notable that is here tonight, as Ricketts is only, if I'm reading this properly, there's only 33 points separating Sear and Ricketts.
So the minus 33, if it has a minus 33 next to him, that means he's 33 outside of the playoffs.
Okay.
So you would have to do the math, 33 minus whatever Sears out, to be the difference between the two drivers.
So the other elephant in the room, Marcus Hagman has taken a hiatus from the league as well.
Correct.
Currently sitting P6 in the playoff picture. That would move both Sear and Ricketts inside. And it still leaves must-win situations for Chris Van Maastricht, Angel Hernandez, Clarence Prince, John Hopley, Tommy Stanley, Robert Rowe, Brian Chu, Brian Treadwell, Casey Tomlinson, and Derek Cook. All of those drivers are in absolute must-win situations to make it into the playoffs.
100% correct, yes. And Mike Iskandar, this is his home track. He's from just up the road in Hesperia, California, right there on the top of Cajon Pass. Maybe he'll get out here and do a win at his home track and make his way into the playoffs that way. So.
That would be cool to see. It's always good to see the hometown people do well in these events. But let's get Rid of that. Bring the weather conditions up tonight. Not the worst that we've seen here in Southern California. 66-degree ambient air temperature, kind of brisk right now. 3-mile-an-hour winds out of the southeast, so they're basically getting a headwind down the back straight, which isn't all that straight. And then track temperature only 74 degrees, which means tire wear is going to be a ton better than we have seen in the past year.
Yeah, and that wind is not strong today like it normally is. The Santa Ana wind not kicking up this afternoon. It's actually right now over there. It's 10:30 in the morning. So we keep saying evening, afternoon, all this. We're all wrong. It's actually morning over there. They're still eating cereal here on this Sunday morning, and drinking coffee. So get out the breakfast burritos. It's time to go racing, right? So
It's 1:30 in the afternoon here on the right coast, and I'm still eating cereal.
qualifying is getting ready to take off, guys. I'm gonna have to hop out. Good luck to both of you in the booth, and hopefully talk to you after the race.
Sounds like a game plan. And
Okay, sounds good.
Jonathan Leach, looks like qualifying getting ready to kick off. You had a chance to turn some laps here in this car tonight with the setup. What are your thoughts?
Well, Tony, one thing that you've got to always kind of remember here at this racetrack is the inevitable tire fall off. I think we're going to see at least 2 seconds of tire fall off as this thing goes on in the course of a 30 to 40 lap run, assuming we can get that far. These cars are going to be awfully tight all race long. Nature of this car, nature of the track. So tire management is going to be key. Coming out of coming out of two, gets rather bumpy. The wall comes up on you pretty quick. You would think it wouldn't when you got like 6 lanes, but the wall comes up pretty quick once you're at speed, as well as coming off of turns 4. So watch for some drivers to try to avoid getting into the wall, and watch a few guys that get unlucky as they get into the wall trying to get to the front or back stretch.
Absolutely. The other thing to be mindful of is for 100 laps, they're giving them 4 sets of tires to get it done with. And with a 65% fuel fill, we're probably going to be looking right around the same time that the fuel tank's ready to go to empty. These guys and gals are going to be wanting tires anyways.
Yeah, at a 65% fuel fill, I'm assuming that's going to be about 35, 40 laps roughly on this track. You're going to want tires well before then. And if you're running a fuel strategy and you're trying to stay out farther on fuel, you're going to have to really manage your tires. And you're going to have to be willing to let these drivers go in front of you and give up spots early to maintain those tires for the longer run. But the moment you really, if you slide those tires 3 or 4 laps at this track, you've already run, as you would say, you've already worn the goodie off of them. You don't want to be sliding, but you want to be able to run fast. And the drivers that can find the fine line to run fast without sliding the tires every corner are going to be the guys that are up front. No surprise, currently fastest in qualifying, Alex Aronson. I believe, not any longer. He was fastest in practice. He just got topped by AJ Green, probably looks like on the 1,000th scale, because I'm showing a 45.3 for both of them.
Correct. We're taking a look right now with Skylar Carnes subbing in the 51 here tonight. Bristol, Tennessee native, brings it out of turn number 4 for lap number 2. Wants to improve on that 17th quick lap on the first time. Is going to improve up to 8th. Steven Sear, man that was leaving last week on the bubble, comes into tonight technically in, unless one of the guys behind him wins. But there's the Poland, Maine native. And you can see just how bumpy that back straightaway is. That car was definitely going through some whoop sections, motocross style. Sear going to jump into 10th quick. Brian Chu behind the Toyota Supra for Gibbs Racing. Again, thoughts and prayers going out to the Gibbs family after losing another good one. Won the championship Saturday night and lost one of the good ones on Sunday with Coy Gibbs no longer with us. Brian Chu currently sitting 11th quick. Just waiting on a handful of drivers to lay some times down here. And second lap for Chu moves him up into 9th. There's Curtis Kelly in the 18. The St. John's, New Brunswick driver. Another Gibbs entry. Kind of digging that car here tonight.
And you know, Tony, I want to mention the top 15 are all separated by 0.3 of a second.
And that's
which
impressive.
is not
As
much here.
qualifying comes to an end. Let's take a look at those split times. As there you see AJ Green coming home with the pole with a 40.91, 36 thousandths ahead of your current points leader, Alex Eraldson. Taylor Butchie Benjamin and Angel Hernandez going to make up row number 2. Row 3 is going to go to Skylar Carnes and Jason Ricketts. Row 4 going to give us Zach Phillips and Ricky Hudgens. Row number 5, Charles Robertson and Brian Chu. Jason Carr and Steven Sear are going to start in row number 6. Row 7 is going to see Christian Malschrick and Chris Smith. Mike Iskandar and Jeff Weimer in row number 8. Row 10, row 9, Clarence Prince and James Bowles. Row 10 going to Joey Maines and Bjorn Brostrom. John?
All right, so starting off 21st, it's going to be Christian Delgado. 22nd is going to be Chris V. Unfortunately, I don't know his last name.
Yeah,
Sorry
go
about
with
that. Starting 23rd is going to be Colin Zemer with Derek Cook on the outside, John Hopley and Casey Tomlinson, 25th and 26th, respectively. Rhea Ferris, who we talked to early on this one, not starting where she wants to, 27th. Must not have had the qualifying run that she was looking for. Matthew Moniak, 28th. Thomas Stanley, Brian Treadwell, that's going to be row 15. Curtis Kelly is going to be the final driver qualifying for and running in this race, starting 31st and number 18.
Then we got Bob Wyckoff starting shotgun on the field in 32nd. Ignore the man behind the curtain there in the 32nd position. John wanted to make sure he could see everything.
Well, I made an assumption that wasn't a running driver because it was underneath me. Odd. But my mistake there, folks. But this is going to be a fun race, Tony. You know, like I mentioned, especially with a field like this, they can run 5 wide. They can run 6 wide if they're pushing it. Tire wear is going to come into play rather quickly. I've seen many of these races won on fuel strategy and tire management. So if we get a long green flag run with an oddly timed yellow, we could see a lot of really interesting things take place.
We absolutely could. And considering that this is basically the sister track to Michigan, the only problem is this sister has a bad attitude, and it's called the track settling because of earthquakes in the area. But definitely something to be mindful of here tonight. Again, 65% fuel fill and 4 sets of tires total to get them through this event. So we're looking pit window to be lap 25 to 30 before they're going to need to get both fuel and tires. And tires are going to be key here tonight because the undercut with fresh tires here at Auto Club is so huge. But AJ Green going to have the button. Geico Restart Zone is in effect here tonight at Auto Club Speedway in beautiful Fontana, California. As the field works its way off the Turn 4 complex, you things let's say it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab a burrito, because it's time to get it on in Southern California. Race fans, it's show time!
And already at the start of this race, we're seeing a little
Boy.
bit of beating and banging between that lime green machine and the further black machine. Unfortunately, I couldn't catch the numbers of those cars. AJ
Robertson
Green
and
and
Carr.
Butcher Benjamin into turn number 1 together. The point to AJ Green.
This is where everybody's going to get a little bit antsy, is the 28 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin being pushed along by Skylar Carnes in the 51. They're not quite 3 wide, but they're trying it behind them, as there was Ricky Hudgen being the meat and the sandwich there. 44, Zach Phillips drives to the low side to get around Charles Robertson. Sorry, that was Jason Rickett. Still an angry pack of wolves here tonight.
And, so at the start of this race, when you have your fresh tires, it's really going to be the time to make your passes, because 10 laps in, especially with this car that we're driving, passing is going to get very, very difficult, because in order to be fast, you're just going to have to be on the throttle out of the corners. They're going to slide up the track, and you've got to have that right amount of throttle control coming out of the corner in order to not slide into the wall. And then if you got a car to your outside that you're trying to pass, it really limits the ability of the amount of throttle you can use, and passing is going to become difficult the further this race goes on without mistakes being made. Just like that right there, the number 91 gets clipped in the rear and goes around, collecting 2, 3, 4 other cars.
And that is Euro NASCAR driver on the Monster Energy car in the real world. That is Christian Malshrek. Let's go ahead and take a look at what did happen to the 91. You see the boys up in the chopper picking up the camera. Down on the low side. Oh. Yeah, that'll do it every time. Ow. Ton of cars involved in that one.
Wow. That was a bunch of cars.
We're on board with the 16 of Mains. You're going to see the 9 kind of spit down the track. I mean, he sees the opening. I don't think he realized he was actually in a 3-wide situation. Gets into and nerfs the 78, and the 78 perfect pit maneuver on the 91. And watch this. This is going to hurt. Bang, right into the rear axle. Just like that, we are under caution number 1 here tonight, as we are seeing some takers down pit road. Some of the guys that weren't even involved in that, although most of the cars coming down pit road were involved in that.
Tony, I'm looking at a good eye down here. It's not looking like anyone's pulling tires, taking tires right here. A little damage repair, a little bit of fuel. Too early to take tires when you only got 4 sets.
Right.
Unless you've slid them. But even then with 4 sets, you might just have to cut your losses and run on some really old tires and live to fight the next fuel run.
Well, Malsher just put himself behind the 8 ball, as he did take 4.
I was about to say, watching that right now, he is the only one that I see that took 4 tires. Just saw that machine come up.
And that's scary.
Well, I mean, I think you can make this on 3 total sets. You can go to lap 45 at this point, put a set on,
with
get
65% fuel flow.
85. Sure, you're gonna. Yes, I think so. I think you can get to 45 from here, then get to around 75 to 80 and take your last set, and be all right.
All right, sounds like a game plan.
That's going to be tire management, but I think you can get away with that. Now, it's not what I would prefer, because you always want to have an extra set for that late race caution. because in iRacing, if it's the end of the race, you pretty much have to come down for pit road because the guy who starts 10th on fresh tires will get around you. It just
Correct.
it doesn't. The real world idea of being out front on old tires just does not come into play in iRacing the way that it does in the real world, the way real physics work. It just doesn't work out that way.
Lights go out on the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car, the official pace car of iRacing. AJ Green, your pole sitter. Skylar Carnes up 3. Charles Robertson up 3. Jason Carr in 7th plus 4. Biggest mover so far in the positive direction. We got to go all the way down to 17th, and that is Brian Treadwell.
And Tony, I want to mention that our outside pole sitter, fastest in practice, Alex Aridson, he's marked pretty back in traffic now. I'm showing 19th right now. 14 career wins here. Season 2 champion out of Sweden. But he dropped 15 spots. And unfortunately, I didn't see what happened to cause him to fall that far back. Unless he was one of the guys. Excuse me, he did. He was one of our tire takers. I didn't notice that.
Yes. But I think it was more damage than anything else. But pace car is in. Here we go. Is into the Geico restart zone. The 21 of green has the button, jumps on the loud pedal, and we are back underway here at Fontana. Skylar Carnes looking to the inside of green, going through 1. And for those of you who missed last week's broadcast, Skylar Carnes was in a must-win situation at Phoenix in the Cup Series and just went full send going into turn 1 at Phoenix. Took the lead of the race and was able to throw blocks enough to hold on to punch his ticket into the Cup Series playoff.
Tony, I want to go ahead and mention that the best times these drivers ran in this race for 40.82, 41.02, low 41s. I'm going to give these guys benefit of the doubt, let them go a couple laps, and then I want to start calling off lap times. And we'll only be 5-6 laps in on these tires, but I think you'll be surprised to see the fall off already occurring so quickly. And granted, race pace has a thing to do with that. You're running a little bit slower. You got cars around you, so you're a bit slower. But I think you'll be surprised what the fall off is at this point already.
Well, we're already looking at almost 2 seconds, depending on who you are. Okay, now everybody's back up to speed completely, so not too shabby. As a matter of fact, Zach Phillips just set his quick lap race. Checking in with this battle back here. Just inside the top 10, that's Ricky Hudgens and Angel Hernandez going after each other. Hudgens on the low side, Hernandez on the top shelf. And Skylar Carnes and AJ Green side by side for the lead. Coming through the tri-oval. Just leaning on each other.
Things looking a little bit overall throughout the field, a little bit calmer than they did at the start of this race. A little bit of side-by-side racing. I think at this point, drivers are just trying to sort out how their cars feel, what they're going to do. We're about to have 3 wide back here around the 18th, 17th spot as they're getting that sorted out. But I'm not seeing the same angry wasp nest that we saw on the drop of the green flag.
Right. Because everybody realized, okay, we got to cost way too soon. We were only on lap 2 when that came out.
And and I'm going to keep I want to keep a close eye on number 2, that Alex Adrelson machine, fastest practice. climbing with 4 fresh tires. I want to see how far that's going to get them. The 5-6 lap difference on the tires. That could get a long way. I think that's going to. I think pitting right there might go a long way towards pit strategy in this one. How I mentioned when we're talking about Malcrick, Christian Malcrick.
No, sir.
I apologize. When we're talking about him taking the 4 tires and how I think that they can get to the end on this one with the 3 sets, I think that's going to be a fuel strategy play. And so I'm looking forward to see how that's going to turn out as this race continues on.
Well, if they keep racing like this is 3 wide for 14, 15, and 16. Bob Wyckoff on the top side, Errolton on the low side. 23 of Jeff Weimer wisely back out of it. Your biggest mover of the event so far is the 07 of Wyckoff. Currently sits plus 19. Checking back up towards the front. AJ Green has been passed. Keeping Skylar Carnes honest, though. They've got Taylor Butcher Benjamin right there with him. Charles Robertson looks to the inside on TBB. Knightsville, South Carolina native. Just throw a blanket over the top 7. And you're about a second and a quarter back to that man in 38. There's Angel Hernandez. He's got Jason Ricketts in tow with him. Christian Delgado's within striking distance. As the 54 of Chu and 7 of Sear going after each other. These guys have raced with each other a long time, John.
And, that's one of the coolest things about this league is the longevity of it and the car count that's always here. You don't tend to see the fall off with these guys at the end of the season, like in other series,
right.
Which is kudos to leadership and kudos to the group of drivers that have built camaraderie. They enjoy the competition, racing against each other. And when you finish 3rd or 4th or behind one person so often, it kind of creates a competitive desire I'm going to keep racing until I can beat that individual. At least it does for me, and I think that has a little bit of the reason for why these drivers continue to come back. But the overall format and the way the league is ran and how it's handled and the professionalism that is RIA on a normal basis with these guys and with us as the broadcast team in general, it goes a long way. And that's why this league is so successful. And one of the larger ones on the iRacing series or on the iRacing platform, that is. And really kudos, and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And it always puts on for great racing. In fact, this is pretty good racing in this car, and I don't think this car on the platform makes for great racing, personally. That's my driving ability.
These guys are proving you wrong, right?
Yeah, they're proving me wrong, but that's because I don't like the car. I would rather drive trucks than this car, personally. But that's my 2 cents and my preference. But I thoroughly enjoy watching these guys. A lot of respect on the track. And you can just see that. I see people get a little close and they whip the wheel left to get away from the guy they almost hit and almost ruin their race before trying to ruin somebody else's. And that's just really nice to see.
Absolutely is. And the other thing that's nice to see is this car has the analog gauges, which means we can check into those guys that were in that first accident that took front end damage and see if they're starting to overheat. So we can almost predict an engine going hand grenade. As we do have 2 retirements to speak of. Clarence Prince and Christian Malstrick, the 19 and the 91, respectively, both putting it on the hauler early and calling it a day. Checking back in here with a battle for 15th is Derek Cook. Now has it. Here comes the 66 of Zimmer on the top side. He wants to take it back. Cook just too strong on that low side, though.
Tony, at this point, we're seeing lap times about 1.5 seconds slower than they were at the start of the green flag from the best competitors of this race, and almost 2.5 seconds for the slower drivers.
That's definite tire fall off rearing its ugly head. Let's take a quick look at the current weather conditions. Again, only 3-mile-an-hour wind. Almost a straight headwind down the back straightaway right now. 56% water drain, which means these engines are making about as much horsepower as they're going to be able to make with the coolness in the air. 67-degree ambient air temperature, 77-degree track temperature here at 11:05 a.m. on the left coast. And just checking in the live chat. If you haven't done so already, let us know who you're pulling for tonight. We will try to highlight your favorite driver as the race wears on.
Been a little bit quiet so far. I've been watching the chat. I haven't had much input on it this one so far, Tony. But I mean, things really aren't coming down to the wire. These guys are just really running their laps, running around, trying to get to that first pit stop. I think things are going to shake up a little bit. At that point, we'll be able to start interpolating what the potential plans and strategies are going to be for these guys. And that's going to make things a little more entertaining.
The other thing to figure out too, Frank, is this is a lot earlier than we normally go live. Normally we're not going live till 5:15. So on the East Coast, anyways. And here we started this one at I believe it was about a quarter after 1. So a lot different there. We're going to be having an early start time next week as well, as we are going to be back with their Cup Series as they have their World 600 at Charlotte. Full-length World 600 at Charlotte.
It's going to be a very long race. And that's the only way to put it.
The only good news is these guys seem to do pretty well on the 1.5 miles. It's the more technical tracks that give them fit. Carr and Hudgens going after each other now. That's Carr in the 02 on the bottom side, the 47 of Hudgens on the top shelf. Battle for 5th and 6th, going hot and heavy right now. Checking back in with who our biggest mover is. Currently belongs to that man in the 5. That is Christian Delgado, currently set plus 12. So good on you, sir. In 9th. Now this second group that they're running with, they're about 3.5 seconds off that lead group. So from Ricketts to Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Ricketts in the 98, now Delgado.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Okay. And who just biffed? I don't have it, unfortunately. Usual suspects. Huh. I don't have what the caution's for. Okay. John, do you have it?
I'm kind of missing a lot of info on this one.
Yeah, I don't have it either, but we're going to bring this back live.
Either way, this is going to set this up for this is going to be rather interesting having stops right here. I mean, at this point, you got to take your tires, and now you're setting this up for at least 2 more stops, and everybody aside from the guys who took tires early are going to have an extra set for something wild to happen at the end of this one. Perhaps the people that did take tires earlier are not going to pit, and that's what it looks like. Matthew Moniak is one of those drivers, took tires earlier, and is it
I don't
going to
know
do
if he
so
did.
now?
He might
Maybe
have.
he did it. I'm looking at a 24-second pit stall time for him.
I'm thinking he just took damage repair.
Right, but that could be. But either way, I think at this point, you're going to split this race into thirds, basically. You're going to have a little bit longer of a stint this next time, or you can have the longer stint the last time around. But I think this is almost exactly what the league had in mind when they gave it 4 sets. There would be potential to pit around 35, 70, and 35 and 70, go from there, then have an extra set for something in the middle or towards the end of the race. And then that's exactly how this has turned out.
Now, Moniak's coming in this time. He just wanted to get credited with leading a lap. But something of note that you're going to find interesting, our points leader, Alex Arilton, did not take tires. Now, you may be wondering, why would he do something crazy like that? He's from the world of GT3. They don't change tires every pit stop. And it's early enough in this piece that he could try this, and hopefully it doesn't go horribly wrong.
Yeah, I just don't really know how that's going to work out on tracks like this. But, when you see that little asterisk down there of all the wins, I don't know. Not taking tires here would immediately put me out of a race like this, personally. Of course, I'd spend much more time running an organization as opposed to racing. So I'm not the guy you want to put in the car anymore, Tony. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, if you're going to be that way about it, send your wheel up here and I'll drive for us.
You're calling too many of these shows.
There's still a couple nights of the week where I could squeeze a race in.
I believe that. Yeah, you've got a little more free time than I do, which is good on you. You deserve it.
As the pace car peels on in, Arilton has the button. Held him down almost the entire length of the Geico restart zone, but just like that, we are underway. Most of these guys are fresh tires, but Arilton does the Indy snake going into 1. And that didn't take long there.
Not at all. And so the next milestone for this race, Tony, is going to be lap 50. That'll be the next stage break. Receiving that information just a couple moments ago. That's gonna be a really odd, and and these guys are gonna have to once again take tires right there. So this time stages, in my opinion, are gonna interfere with potential strategy, because I would rather not take tires until lap 60-ish personally for this one, after just having pitted if I took tires. But when you come down to lap 50, if you don't take tires on that stage, you may not get another option under yellow to do it again. And if that happens, you're in trouble. So everyone's going to come back down to lap 50, take tires. Some guys will have 1 set left, some guys will have 2. And then we're really going to see how this race unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those deals where you've got to be mindful of your tires. As we're watching AJ Green really just start to run away with this one. The battling's going on just inside the top 10, as that's the 23 of Weimer, the 5 of Christian Delgado, and the 7 is Steven Sear. Throw a blanket over those guys. They've been playing leapfrog for the last 2 laps. As Sear and Weimer not getting away from each other. Weimer has the slight advantage going into 1. And he's checking in a little bit deeper in the field. The boss lady is working with Bob Wyckoff. Wyckoff currently your biggest mover at plus 20, sitting in 13th. There in the 07 on the low side. There's the CMRroofing.com Ford Mustang of Rhea, plus 13, as is Brian Treadwell in the 1. You can see him kind of behind this little group.
And Tony, something I want to mention while we're checking out some of these drivers, I was looking on board with Rhea Ferris, and when you were talking about her, she's extremely smooth with the wheel. Some of these drivers cut the wheel back and forth a little bit more. She is awfully smooth with
it. Yeah, absolutely. And part of that has to do with the fact that in the real world, she's an over-the-road truck driver. So you can't throw a 80,000-pound semi-truck around like you can a go-kart. And that smoothness that she has to have in her truck, A, not tip the truck over, B, not send the load everywhere and all over her truck, scattering it like a war zone. Those skills translate into the smoothness that you see behind the wheel of Ferris. Matter of fact, I was able to con her into letting us put a GoPro on her helmet, so let's go on board with the boss lady.
Tony, I wonder if she's listening and this is making her nervous that we're following her line around.
Nah. Besides that, she won't know for another 10 seconds. But you can see that her hands are about as rock steady as you're ever going to see.
And that's really good for tire saving here if you find the right line, but the tough thing is you still got to find that she drove in a little hard right there. It's you got to find the line from fast and smooth, and it's really, really hard to do. I probably only found that like 3 or 4 times in all the racing that I've ever done, which in case I won those races, and all the others of the time, it doesn't happen.
Right.
But she's got three cars in front of her right here that I really think that she can get up and compete with these three and move from 15th to at least 12th.
Well,
She's a lot smoother. These guys are running a little bit harder. She's kind of abiding her time.
and
I
that
think
you
it's
just hit the nail on the head right there, John, is she's giving herself an out by hanging back just a tick off those three cars in front of her that are still playing leapfrog with each other. Checking in front of this group, though, that is Charles Robertson and Jeff Weimer battle for 8th. It's Weimer on the low side, Robertson on the top shelf. And there's another side-by-side battle going on for 3rd right now between Zach Phillips Sr. in the 44 and Ricky Hudgens in the 47. And there's Skylar Carnes in the 51. AJ Green 2 seconds up the road leading this piece. Taylor Butcher Benjamin only 1 second up the road from these guys. As this battle for 3rd just rages. This video brought to you by... No, I'm kidding.
Oh, man.
I hate the ads for that game. Marcus
Tony,
Hagman checking in. Thank you so much, Marcus. That was the stage break at lap 25. 25 and 50 is when we're going to see those, but we are going to take this moment to step away, pay a couple bills, and we'll be back right after this.
What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
And we are back at Fontana, California, round number 17 of the Sunday Night Fever XFinity series presented by iSNF. Mitch Grasso and Jonathan Leach up in the booth with you for this one. Sorry, Johnny, you and I don't get to work together enough anymore.
I don't really have time to do that. Unfortunately, this turned out just to be a day that I was able to make this happen. But, you know, Tony, as we're getting close to the stage break again, coming out of that commercial break, thanks for staying around and watching that, you guys. Let's talk about the playoff picture, because it's the race remaining. And a couple drivers have to win to get in. There's a couple guys trying to make it in also. And I just wanted to see and talk about that so that these guys know where they stand, I guess is what I should say.
Yeah, that's a great idea. As you know, we've already talked about, as of right now, the 12 that are in. Alex Wilson with 6 wins, punched his ticket in early. Curtis Kelly has 2 wins, so he's going to receive bonus points. And it's 5 bonus points for each win you get in the regular season. Taylor Butcher Benjamin with 1 win, Charles Robertson with 1 win, Christian Delgado with 1 win. There's a couple of elephants in the room. Marcus Hagman comes into tonight 6th in points. The only problem is he's not here. And he's probably not going to be here for the remainder of the season, as he has been taking Sundays off to be with the family, and I can't say I blame him on that one.
So that ought to open up a spot then.
It does. James Bowles moves up to 6th. Christian Malsherrick sits in 7th. Rhea Ferris in 8th. AJ Green in 9th. Bjorn Brostrom in 10th. Peyton Hubbard has also decided to take a hiatus. So that now opens up the spots for Steven Sear and Jason Ricketts to be 11th and 12th. However, sitting behind them, Chris V, Angel Hernandez, Clarence Prince, John Hoppe, Tommy Stanley, Robert Rowe, Brian Chu, Brian Treadwell, Casey Tomlinson, and Derek Cook are all in must-win situations to move on. And let's take a quick look at some of those guys, as I believe...
So Derek Cook is running 11th currently. He's of the drivers that are in must-win scenarios.
Right.
He is closest to the lead, but he hasn't really shown the pace to go up and win this race.
No, he hasn't, unfortunately.
So that being said, I don't, unless something strategically was to come into play in about the next half a lap, I'm not so sure what's there to expect. We're gonna know what's up here in just a minute. When this stage break is about to be thrown, when these drivers come down pit road, I really expect everybody to come take tires. Somebody may not, but I really expect them all to come and take their tires. And then from there, it's going to be, do you split it in half? Do you split it in second? Or into third, should I say? And then you come back around lap 75, lap 80, and have pretty much fresh rubber all the way through the end with that extra stop? Or do you go the distance, wait for a caution? And a lot of that's going to be really dictated by how everybody else around you runs. And who's going to be the first to try it.
Exactly. And as the stage caution comes out, AJ Green getting the 10 bonus points. Skylar Carnes coming home in 2nd. Ricky Hutchinson 3rd. Jason Carr 4th. Zach Phillips, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Charles Robertson, Jeff Weimer, Christian Delgado, and Jason Ricketts rounding out your points gatherers for the stage, as we are going to form them up behind the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car. I dare say that Alex Arildson, to was shuffled back to 20th, is in the catbird seat right now because everybody else took tires under the first stage caution. He didn't. So he has an extra set on everybody. He's still on the lead lap. He's still in the top 20. So he can run the blazes out of the next couple of pit stops. You know, he's got an extra set waiting for him, so he can really turn the wick up right now if he chose to.
He just has. It's going to be dependent on a lot of that's going to be finding a time where you can take the tires. So say we come out here, we run 15 laps. He's got an opportunity to come in and take tires again. But you've got to think about the drivers you're going to put yourself behind.
Right.
Now, if you think you can make a net gain out of that, so say he's running, I'll say he's running first, and he's going to come down, he's going to pit. If he can make up all that additional time being fast, come around the next pit, round of pit stops, you know, it wouldn't be made up until everybody pits that last time, even. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, no, the other thing you got to remember
about this, and not us, but
he is just now taking the tires that he started the race off the car. Everybody else is putting their third of 4 sets on right now. So if we do happen to get a late race caution, let's say with 10 to go, or around that area, he's going to have the fresh shoes. And, you know, I'm looking at the lap history here. You know, before that caution came out, 43.3, 43.3, 43.4. Compare that.
Really
compare that to the fast lap that he laid down of a 41.2. You know, you're still looking at least 2 seconds of fall off after 25 laps. And, you know, the pit strategy is going to be key here tonight.
Yeah, you know, the issue I'm really did he just bounce?
Bounce?
Like, did we just lose him?
No.
No, he's still there. Okay, I think I had something really odd happen on my side of the screen. Like, I thought he disconnected accidentally the way it went down. So I'm glad that did not happen to him. You know, but pit lane time and then coming on to pit lane and getting off of pit lane is probably about a minute. And
yeah, it was high 50s anyways.
I'm changing my tune here, Tony. I thought that the idea of maybe coming 15 laps happens, he could come down, burn a set of tires right then, and it'll be beneficial for him. I don't think that's going to work. I changed my mind. He would have to have a whole lot of other drivers come down also.
Yeah, no, this isn't Pocono. This isn't Pocono where you are going a lap down here if you try to pit under green. John, why don't you get us going this time?
Oh, man, I'm a little bit rusty on this, Tony. The other day I tried to do my best impression of you. I'm not expecting that. Pace Mustang's going to turn off, leading us back to the green. It's going to be Taylor, Butcher, Benjamin, and his Ford Mustang with Zachary Phillips on the outside as they're going to get into the restart zone on the gas. Taylor with a great restart, really almost 4 car lengths over Zachary Phillips, as it seems like he caught Phillips snoozing a little bit coming into turn number 1.
We got a 3-wide situation back in right around 15 as these guys are just trying to make up as much ground as they can. 3 wide in front of them, as that's Bob Wyckoff, the meat in that sandwich. No, I'm sorry. It's right behind Wyckoff with Joey Maines, Mike Iskandar, Derek Cook. Cook wisely backs out of it. Boy, hang on to her, son. It was a scary moment for Brian Chu as he was all sorts of sideways coming off the 4.
We're only just over halfway through this one, but halfway through this one doesn't mean there's a lot of time left. At this point, if you've got something for this race, you've got to show it now. The intensity is going to be a little bit greater, especially as we're seeing 4 wide right there. That happened because of some looseness to the 54 machine. Not the 54. Looks like the number 9 machine, that Bass Pro machine right there.
That's Mike Kister.
Got a little bit loose, put him 4 wide. And now you got a situation where we might see 5 wide. This is more towards the rear of the lead lap right here.
Yeah, this is 15, 16, 17, 18,
Oh,
19.
that's going to be a thing. Oh, wow. Oh, I thought that was a thing right there. I thought the 14 was loose. I thought the iRacing machine, that number 2, was going to be in his rear and going to send him around right in front of those 5 other drivers. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, these guys still don't have it quite sorted out yet. Meanwhile, battle for third starting to get hot and heavy. That's Ricky Hudgens working the low side on the 11 of Charles Robertson. Battle for fourth. Harrisburg, North Carolina native. Does have a career win. Looking to get another one here tonight in California. 2 wide in front of him is Phillips and Ricketts just slugging it out. Little Ford on Chevy action there. Almost leaning on each other, coming off of 2. And, John, it's really weird the way that the seams are at this track. The sealer, you know, those groove lines really throw off what you think the car is doing and kind of adds to the bumpiness on the back straightaway.
That's one of the things I just really dislike about this track is how unsettling it is while trying to go straight. You can't just kind of relax on the car, even virtually, because it'll get away from you if you're not careful, especially when you're in high draft or drag scenarios with a bunch of cars to your left or your right, and then you're behind them. Car gets kind of floaty going over all those bumps, and really harder to tell. Are significantly harder to tell in the sim, but the sim does a pretty good job rendering that in the response to how the car is going to behave. So if you're not careful, it gets awfully squirrely and floaty, and I think that also has a bit to do with why we see some of these straightaway accidents at this track, more so than smoother surfaces.
Current battle for second. Throw blanket over second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. As Taylor Butcher Benjamin is flat checked out.
Holy cow.
That
did you see that, Tony?
Could have gotten ugly.
No, did you see that with the 11? Charles Robertson just dropping. We had 2 cars spin just behind that screen right there.
Yes, and we are going to actually take a look at that. Robertson and Ricketts both went off track. This is what caused that. Not necessarily. Let's back that up a little more. Keep your eye on the green and yellow car. There he is on the top side going into 1.
See, right about here. A little bit of bump right there, and then the invisible force field of netcode, I think, played into that. I don't think that bump itself initially was enough to cause that. It was the recoil of that.
I'm going to show you what happened here, and we're going to slow this down. Keep your eye on the 98 on the top side, the Monster Energy car. And watch the seams in the track, because they are not straight down the back straightaway. He's following the seam right now, and it's so easy to get glued to that seam with your eyes. He tries to come down, and the 11's there. I mean, you can't really say that there was any malice to that. That was just one of them racing deals where, you know, the 98 wasn't as situationally aware as he could have been or should have been at that point. And unfortunately, Charles Robertson pays the price.
I mean, I'm not saying he didn't make a mistake here. I just don't think the bump was enough to cause what it caused.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
And you can take into account the bumps and things like that, but that was a little bit odd to me. But now we've got a yellow out for something different, I think involving Ricky Hudges.
Let's go take a look at what happened to Ricky here. There he is on the top side. A little bit of tail wag. 44 just goes up into him and uses him up. Oh my. It was Jason Carr that got sent. A lot of front end damage on that car. As a matter of fact, we're going to go on board. Good Jason Carr. So you see the 47 right in front of him. 44 goes up, just pushes up the track. Jason Carr nowhere to go, gets hip checked. 2 minutes boarding, being as it is hockey season. And as we're seeing wholesale pit stops for the rest of the field here, John Hopley stayed out, Bob Wyckoff stayed out, Chris Smith, Colin Zemer all stayed out. Taylor Butcher Benjamin leads the battle off pit road, taking fuel only.
And you see, look here, that Alex out. Looks like he might have done it this time. I'm showing a 14.97 stop. This is what I was thinking would be the best use of taking tires, is a scenario like this, a caution where enough drivers come in with him and that it doesn't put them too far back. So right here, this is going to be advantageous, especially to the 8 in front of him. He should be able to get around them with ease.
Let me pose this question to you, John. You said that they can go 40 laps or so on this tank of gas.
That's my theory. I'm sticking to it.
Then that could possibly be the money stop right there.
Yeah, it very well could have been.
We're inside 40 to go.
We're inside 40, going to go back to green at 67, probably 66.
Let's find out.
Save a little bit of fuel. If there's not a caution, I think it can continue.
66.
I think they could get to the end. If there is a caution, I expect to see drivers come down again and it not matter. I think somebody in that group can make it.
Whereas Hopley, Wyckoff, Smith, and Zemer are all going to have to come down one more time. Two of your biggest movers right now, John Hopley, Bob Wyckoff. Hopley plus 24, Wyckoff plus 31 as they are starting on the front row on this restart. Take another quick look at our weather, see what the conditions are doing. Ambient air starting to rise as we're closing in on noon West Coast time. 68 degree ambient air temperature now, 78 degree track temperatures. Track temperature's gone up about 3 degrees since we started. Still relatively cool for this part of California.
Well, when you think about it, this race is typically held early in the year, and it's not blazing hot when they normally go to this track. It's not going to be an issue anymore based on the new plans, but
yeah, I'm still not sure what to think about all that.
Green, green,
As
green.
Hopley brings him into the restart zone, jumps on the loud pedal. Wyckoff spun the tires a little bit, as did Chris Smith.
And Tony, I want to mention John Hopley is one of those win and get in drivers right now.
He
making
is.
a call that puts him up front. I don't think he took 4 tires. I think he might have taken 2 tires, but
he stayed out
if he
under
took
that
tires
last.
at all,
He stayed
did
out
he?
on the last
Oh,
one.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. He did. My mistake. I'm reading 51, thinking I've still got 49 great laps of racing left. So he stayed out. He put himself up here. If he can hang out here in the clean air, which helps a bit, not a lot, but helps a bit, he's not going to make it to the end. But if something can happen and he brings the whole field down with him, he has a fighting chance. This is the kind of thing he had to do to give himself an opportunity.
You're very much correct on that one. And, doing what he needs to do, he understands the assignment. And if he does win to get in, that would be his first career win here with the iSNF.
And why can't it be now? However, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, that 28, is got something else to say for that as he's diving to the inside, and you can see he is pretty used to winning, I guess is the way to put it. 13 career wins with these guys out of Baltimore. He's going to bring the machine all the way down to that white line. He's going to open the door for, holy cow, he's already there.
Oh, here comes the 2 of Hurlson as well.
Holy cow!
You've come to expect this out of him. That's why he's got 6 wins already on the season. As a matter of fact, he's also won in the Thursday League we broadcast, and he's won in the Cup Series here in the iSNF as well. As the 26, the Hopley continues to backslide, and he's losing ground steadily to those cars who did hit under that last caution and take tires.
Oh, we got number 66 in the wall. It's going to turn around. 26, 3 cars, separate instances, all in the grass. Oh, don't come back. Oh, man, that was close right there. Now 13 still in the grass.
The 13 just got hit.
Somebody's, destruction at its finest. You can hear that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Tony, they can make it to the end. At this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, they can. Let's see if I can find where that all kicked off.
So, but what I want to know is, do the guys that just came down, do they come back down? I mean, if I'm number 2 and I'm already in the front again, I might as well come down to get more fuel and guarantee it. Like, I've proven I can get through the field. In my opinion.
This is Tommy Stanley. Bob Wyckoff channeling his inner Kevin LePage. Oh my. Let's watch that again. So Wyckoff's already been off track. He's down low, coming back up. And for some reason, the 10 was going low and just turned Wyckoff up into the wall. Take a look at Brian Treadwell here. So let's back that up a little bit. So keep your eye on Treadwell on the top side. The 13 car on the black and gold car on the bottom side are going to be 2 of the cars involved in this piece. So far, so good. Treadwell with a little bit of a run on the 13 gets run down the track into 3 wide situation. The 13 wisely backs out of it there. Treadwell slips up the track It pops off. There's the 66 going through the grass. Treadwell. Let's back that up a little bit. Treadwell's still in that four-wheel drift, coming off of 4. Just bangs the safer barrier. And it spits him down the track. He's trying to save it. He's off the gas. Hits the grass there. Spits it back up the track. Back end washes out, and he goes up into the 13. Let's take a look at what happened with Zimmer here. There he is on the top side. Three deep, two wide situation. As I believe that's Brian Chu. Yes, it is. Underneath him there. Chu kind of pinches him into the wall. The 87 finishes him off. And then we're going to take a look at what happened to Wyckoff here. There's Wyckoff in the Mustang in the middle. And the 26 and 07 just had a meeting of the minds.
So I'm not sure who this is, but somebody says I did not. He came up into me. Dragon 24. So someone disagrees with something that you said. And I don't know what it was that you said.
Sure, okay.
Somebody disagrees with you.
That's normal. I've gotten way used to that. As Angel Hernandez stays out, Arildson came down for fuel to make sure he can get home from here.
That's another driver that can win and get in. Angel Hernandez being up front. We'll see how long he can stay up there.
Well, the slugfest is right back here. As Skylar Carnes goes to the low side, he was on the bottom 3 wide. As Ricketts on the top side gets shuffled back. Arildsson's up there as well. As Arildson now works on the 9 of Iskandar. As there's Iskandar on the top side trying to just get that car home in one piece. Ryan Treadwell up 22 right now. There he is in the 1 on the top side. You see the very wounded Zach Phillips car. And with as much damage as Phillips has on the nose of that car, I want to go on board with him and see what his gauges are looking like.
They look pretty clean to me right here, Tony. I guess damage isn't affecting the airflow.
Well, the biggest thing is, did he put a hole in the radiator? That's what I was wondering. Everything looks good, though. You can see just how bumpy that back straightaway is.
That's insane.
It's got to be a nightmare in a next-gen car.
Oh, absolutely unnerving. As we're 3/4 of the way through with this one, if you want to point your attention back to the lead, that must-win driver, Angel Hernandez, is still out front. It's almost about about 3/4 a second gap over Brian Chu right now. But if you look behind him, the fastest driver of the day, the number 2, Alex Aldridson. Gosh, I can't say his name yet.
Rildson.
He's coming in a hurry.
He is definitely picking him up and laying him down. He's worked the inside of Chu, going through 3 and 4. Chu going to try to battle back on that top shelf. A Ford leads a Toyota, who leads a Chevy. Actually, a sea of Chevys from Brian Chu on back. Your next highest running Ford is Jason Ricketts back in 9th. And the next running Toyota is Curtis Kelly back in 19th. So we are in a very Chevy-heavy field. Take a look at what's going on back here with the first part of the top 10, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, all the way down to 16th. Just throw a blanket over that angry pack of wolves right there, as those guys are all trying to figure it out.
In one instance, you could go from first in that to last.
Oh, yeah.
Of that group, I should say.
And have it not be any fault of your own.
Ooh, I thought that was about to be something right there with number 23, the way he turned down so aggressively. I didn't expect that to stick.
I would have thought the back end would have washed on him as well. But,
making another big move right there, trying to cut the nose off the 28. I think also trying to make the corner and give himself a fighting chance
3 wide
to get around 44. But not going to happen. There's the contact.
Yellow flag is out.
How many of those machines just got involved in that? All of them.
Just about all of them.
Holy cow.
Jeepers. I no sooner got 3 wide out of my mouth and it happened.
And so here you go, Tony. We see this happen. Now you have to make a decision. You take your last set. Do you have 2 sets still based on what you did? Or do you wait because you expect there to be another one?
If I haven't taken my last... If I've got 2 sets like some of these guys do... Oh... This is what Brian Treadwell saw in the 1. Can't see thing there because the spoiler's too high. Sees it pop off. Could not get it turned down fast enough. Ouch. Here's what Ricky Hudgens had to deal with. 3 wide's going to happen in front of him. Taylor Butcher Benjamin shoves it up through the middle. Bank, bank, clunk, and good night. Well then.
Can't say I didn't expect it.
As soon as they went 3 wide, you're going, that's not going to end well. Guy who's currently in the playoffs doesn't necessarily need to win, but sure would be nice to get those extra bonus points going into the first round.
I don't doubt that. And I want to mention a lot of these guys came down and pitted. So I guess we're just not going to really know on this if they could have made it.
Well, Sear was last down on lap 71. Everybody else has spin down recently. Lap 79. As the lights go out on the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car, we are going to restart with 19 to go. So Steven Sear, AJ Green, Alex Arilton, Charles Robertson, Angel Hernandez, Brian Chu, Jason Ricketts, Zach Phillips Sr., Curtis Kelly, James Bowles, your top 10. A couple of your biggest movers right now. Curtis Kelly sits plus 22 in 9th. Rhea Ferris plus 16 as she sits in 11th. John Hopley plus 13 back in 12th. So field works its way out of turn number 4. Pace car gets ready to make that hard left turn on pit road. There it goes, drifting as it goes. Steven Sear has the button as the field works its way into the Geico restart zone one more time. 19 laps to go here from Auto Club. So Sear does have the fresh air, only about 8-lap older tires. As here comes Robertson to his inside with a good head of steam coming off of 2. Sear, a little bit of tail wag coming off of 2 and down the back straightaway with a drag race.
I question how he started that, how he came all the way up to the wall, took the wall all the way around the first corner. So he took the longest way around by far before getting up to speed. And so I question what made him start that way, which that's a fine way to run when you're up to speed. But I really think they just handed.
I can answer that question for you in one word. Spotter. The iRacing spotter does not start calling clear until you get out of turn 1. And he wanted to make sure that he didn't cause caution, knowing how aggressive Charles Robertson can be.
Well, that's reasonable, I suppose. If that was me, I'm going down, not straight to the white line, but I'm trying to get the best turn into that corner before taking the long way around. Because I want to get a lap in, a couple laps.
Yeah, you got to arc it and use look left.
But Tony, what I really like is you see several really dominant drivers up front. So it's not like just one of these guys is going to walk away with this race. And even though we've seen number 2, probably the fastest of the race, you got AJ Green, Charles Robertson. There's a couple other drivers a little bit further back. The number 28, although he got involved in something, that was Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Also really quick. It's not like one of these guys are just going to walk away with it.
You're actually right on that one, but if you want to talk about fastest lap of the race so far, that belongs to that man in the 44, Zach Phillips, who went 40.81, a full 20 thousandths quicker than anybody has gone yet tonight.
Well, he's a Michigander too, so
there you go.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Michigander. I mean, I'm not a Michigander by birth, but I wouldn't mind seeing a Michigander get up here and win a race.
You always got to pull for where you live. If you can't pull for your hometown, who can you pull for?
The state you live in, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, but he does not know what we mean. That's gonna hurt him.
Charles Robertson just pancaked the right side of that uniform's. Oh yeah, you can see the heavy right damage on the 11 right now.
Yeah, and he also got lucky. I'm surprised he didn't get stuck on the wall there. Kind of nature of more of the ARCA cars. But
how many times have we seen that over the last couple of weeks?
There's more trouble. There goes 44.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
I jinxed him.
Oh! ARCA! Thud.
Ah. The car down low looks a little bit loose. No, Zachary's getting a
Brian
little
Chu on
tight
his
there.
outside. Yep, there it is.
I don't know about that one. I also don't believe that's Zach's fault with that second impact.
No, not at all. Let's
And the other guy just didn't have anywhere to go. I don't. Is that the 66 next to him? Or is it the 5 next to him?
well, let's take a look at it here. It's the 54 of Brian Chu. And then Bjorn Brostrom tried to get through there and missed.
So the car
Right,
that clipped him, I'm wondering if he was trying to stay off the wall.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to pause it here. And then we're going to go to Skylar Carnes on board because he had the best view of this. Okay, so this is on board of Skylar Carnes' rig. We want that view.
I think we might want the driver view. Yeah, there he goes. Yeah, I think he was trying to stay off the wall, Tony.
Both of them were, and let's back that up one more time. All right, so at quarter speed, Carnes is coming up, so he's going to have the best view of it here. Chu's trying to stay off the wall, and I could have limped my fat, crippled ass between those two cars when they started to crash. That was netcode at its finest, my friend. Those cars never actually touched until after the netcode. And Zach Phillips decides to put it on the hauler.
Yeah, that's pretty disappointing how that went down right there.
Yeah, not something you ever want to see.
Couple cars really messed up right there on that one.
And it wasn't even their mistake. It was netcode. Chu came off the wall by about half a tire to try to not hit the wall. And there was enough room to walk between those two cars, John, as they started to crash.
That's an unfortunate part of virtual competition.
Oh, it's a much better than it was back in the NASCAR 99, 2001 days.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, 56K modem sucked.
You're within 32 feet of the car next to you. You're crashing. That doesn't happen anymore.
Well, or any less. So Alex Arilton going to have the button. His lights have gone out on the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car. AJ Green, Charles Robertson, Jason Ricketts, Angel Hernandez, Steven Sear, Skylar Carnes, James Bowles, Mike Iskandar, and Brian Chu round out your top 10. And this is going to get interesting. Three Chevys and two Fords in your top 5 right now. Only one Toyota in the top 10. As Arilton is going to have the trigger. Pace car leads him out of turn number 4. It's going to get ready to make that hard left turn into the safety of pit road, drifting again. As Arilton has the button into the Geico restart zone, they come.
Green, green, green.
He waits on it till about halfway through, jumps on the loud pedal, and we are back underway. Is AJ Green getting heavy pressure right now from Charles Robertson?
And we're going to have to see how this one turns out. Tony, as the leader's going to get away a little bit right here. I expect the pack to kind of come back to him just a bit here when they get up to speed. Really good racing right behind him. 2 wide, 3 wide, back to 2 wide by 6. It's going to be no more give or take. It's going to be all take. I think we're going to see another incident. We're going to see some shoving, some banging. Something else is going to happen. I don't think we've seen the last yellow in this one. And I'm not so confident that the driver leading the race is going to be able to win this race. We almost had another problem right there. See the Bass Pro number 9 machine?
Iskandar.
Michael Iskandar, or Iskandar, excuse me. That big wiggle right there. They managed to hang on to it. 10 laps to go. I really appreciate how hard everybody races, and I still haven't seen anything that I feel like was just absolute ridiculousness or bad driving.
They're trying.
Oh, they're not trying. They're trying to race. I haven't seen anything
egregious.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. I can't think of a professional word to use, so we'll go with egregious. That's a good one. I enjoy this. This is really good. In fact, if my Sundays were free, this would be a fun league to be a part of.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, their Xfinity series puts on some of the best racing week in and week out. Unfortunately, the budget hasn't allowed us to broadcast as many of the Xfinity races as we would like to have. As right now, Rildson continues to show the way. AJ Green just stalking him right now. We are going to be 8 to go when they get back to the stripe. Jason Ricketts and Angel Hernandez going door to door right now. Ford on Ford action. So we're blanket over your top 3. Then you're about 3/4 of a second adrift to this battle for 4th and 5th. And Rhea Ferris, your biggest mover currently at plus 21. There she is. She has gotten by Charles Robertson as he's got a lot of damage on that yellow number 11 or green number 11. Derek Cook trying to make some headway again as he's following the 18 of Curtis Kelly. Matty Moniak looking to make it 3 wide. There was contact. Oy, sparks are flying. Good grief. Rhea Ferris must have saved tires early in this run. Because the last time by, she was one of the 2 fastest cars on track.
I mean, this could be big.
Could be huge.
I mean, I remember her stating earlier at the beginning of this race and a little pre-race how she wanted to be in the playoffs. A finishing position right here would get that done for her. I'm not sure if she's got the pace to get up there and win it outright. But sitting in 4th is a good place to be with 3 highly competitive drivers getting ready to battle out for the win.
Battle for the lead, hot and heavy right now, as Skylar Carnes has gotten by Alex Rildson.
I don't think these 2 drivers are done going back and forth yet, and I also think they're willing to use the bumper on one or the other. Maybe not intentionally to wreck them, but I'm the way they're racing, I really think one is willing to push the other out of the way on the last lap. I don't think you see it before then, but I think you might see it on the last lap if they're next to each other.
So you're saying somebody's going to channel their inner Dale Earnhardt Sr. I didn't
Likely.
mean to wreck him, I just meant to rattle his cage.
Oh, jeez. Well, he was a showman. He understood a few things.
Absolutely. So right now, with 5 to go, Skylar Carnes shows the way. Alex Rildson keeping him honest. And you're about a half second back to AJ Green. There he is out of Mount Clemens, North Carolina. Rhea Ferris kind of holding court right there in 4th. And she's maintaining about that car length and a half gap back to Angel Hernandez. As Hernandez tries to take the short way around through the tri-oval. Has to back out of it, though, as that car got all sorts of loose as soon as he hit the transition.
Tony, we have hit time. This is the last lap. I'm showing 50 seconds. These drivers about to go
Oh my.
crazy. In fact, this might be it.
That is
In fact,
it.
I think Scalar Carnes has won this race. Excuse me, Skylar Carnes. I can't believe I said Scalar.
You can call him Scalar. He'll answer just about anything because it's the second week in a row that he has come home with an Xfinity victory. All right.
That just kind of came out of nowhere on us.
I wasn't even paying attention to it.
Well, I saw the checkered flag come out, and then I'm going to check the time, and we hit time at 54 seconds remaining, and that was it, which would explain some of the intensity if these drivers knew it was coming. I can't imagine all the drivers knew that it was coming because I've been a victim of that before myself.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we all have at least once in our careers. I am trying to find him. There he is. As we are going to reach out now to the winner, the driver of the allsouthelectric.com, number 51, Skylar Carnes, 2 weeks in a row finding victory lane here in the iSNF Xfinity Series.
Oh, it feels great, especially coming out here with great competition today. It was a toss-up on who was going to win it. AJ was super fast on that short run, and I thought this is definitely going to be his for the taking, with especially running close on time and only having about like a 5-lap shootout at the end there. But I was shocked to see that I had enough tire to get around him, and then Alex as well. Holy crap, it was a hard-fought race today, and there was a lot of different strategies out there. It was just a good one.
It looked like it was a lot of fun, but talk us through just how sketchy was that back straightaway on those restarts?
That back straightaway was definitely very sketchy if you were in the top 5. If you were back in the pack watching it go 3-4 wide, you had to definitely check up being ready for anything, especially it wasn't on a restart, but it definitely was in front of me whenever Brian Chu hooked Zach Phillips in front of me. That I mean, anything on that backstretch is scary and sketchy. So you just got to be ready for anything, especially on these restarts here where people can go 3-4 wide going into one.
Yeah, that definitely looked a little wild there at times, but again, 2 weeks in a row. Safe to assume you really like the Xfinity cars.
Oh yeah, I definitely really do like the Xfinity cars. I love them. I don't, the number one car though is definitely the next gen. I absolutely love those because driving those, you got to be more with throttle control to save tires and not bend the car. These things, they're still a blast. Like they're more pushing tight majority of the time, unless you're driving on the right rear. But these things are still a blast, and they're still a very tough car to compete in, and to stay fast and save tires in them definitely shows that you have skill with these cars.
Very much so. Well said. Unfortunately, Skylar, if I'm looking at this correctly, even with the back-to-back wins, you're not eligible for the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm just more of here running just to have fun. That's the way I'm looking at, just trying to get wins and everything. This is more of just Rhea's asked me to race this, and when I have time on my Sundays, and I've had some time to come out and just run Xfinity, so I'm just here to get some wins.
Well, if we look at the bright side, that's 5 less bonus points that Alex O'Reilson's going to have as the playoffs start next week.
Yeah, I feel bad for that, but it's going to be a fun one watching these guys run the playoff format. We'll see how they go.
And Skylar, who do you need to thank before we turn you loose?
I definitely want to thank everybody over in the BJ McLeod chat. I was running with them today, just having fun in the voice chat with them. I definitely want to thank on you two for putting on the broadcast, Rhea for the league, all the admins in the booth. Today we had a very, very fun Xfinity race here today. It was 10 times better than some races that have been going on in this league in the past, but this one was really good, especially with how stage 1 and stage 2 went. And then, of course, we got a little bit more racy at the end and started to wreck, but regardless, that's racing. It was a fun one.
It looked a lot of fun. So, Skylar, again, congratulations on back-to-back wins. We will see you next week at Charlotte for the World 600.
Sounds good.
And John, unfortunately, we don't have. Oh no, we do. I believe you've got the man from Sweden with you now. I believe. Where is it? There it is. I believe you've got Alex O'Rilson with you now, John.
Yep, I sure do. I see him here with us. Alex, the first thing I've got to ask is, did you know time was about to expire? And secondly, I mean, you were fastest in practice, second fastest in qualifying. How did you come home P2 when it looked like this was your race to take home?
Yeah, I did know that the time was about to run out, so try to race accordingly. But I see now afterwards that the Skylar pitted at the same lap as me and took his last set of tires at around lap 80. So I was pretty confident that I would be able to hold off the other guys up there who had pitted earlier. But Skylar just had too much speed for me today, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've been a victim. The little bit of racing that I do, I've been a victim before of time expiring. And like you said, you race to what you know. And that's sort of how it came down to it, I guess, at the end of it. I mean, you finished P2, really a dominating performance. Before we continue on and go to somebody else, what are you looking forward to as far as the playoffs coming?
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to the playoffs, obviously, but due to work, I'm gonna miss a couple of races in the playoff, so I kind of have to win my way to the final, basically, in the few races I can run. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm looking forward to trying at least.
Well, it doesn't seem like you're a stranger to winning with 14 career wins with these guys and Season 2 champion. So we'll be watching to see how you do. Maybe I'll be back for a couple of these. This one was exciting. Alex, anyone you want to talk to, mention, or thank before we go on to our next driver?
Yeah, I want to thank my teammates at Force Esports and also our team sponsors, Mobio, Baylor, and Kappa Bar for making our car as fast as Xfinity Internet.
All right. Good work. P2 runner-ups a little bit rough considering how fast you were, but all in all, great day. We look forward to seeing you in the playoffs.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks.
And joining us now, the biggest mover in a positive direction tonight, Rhea Ferris. Not a podium, but you were knocking on the door tonight.
Yeah, your third podium couldn't do a post-race interview today due to some sort of scheduling conflict after the race. But thank you. Yeah, I took a little bit of strategy there. The last pit stop, my teammate was even questioning my strategy. Are you sure you're going to stay out? And I'm like, I'm sure. I've got to do something different than what everyone else is doing. And I was banking on one late caution. It wasn't as late as I had hoped, but with less than 20 to go, I ducked down in and got my last fresh set of shoes, which really paid off there at the end because I saw the timer ticking down and I'm like, okay, we'll probably end a little bit earlier. So I'll have 15 laps on these set of tires to finish the race or whatever. And everyone else is going to be pretty much bald by the end of the race at this point. So yeah, it worked, and I was somehow able to stay out of some trouble. I want to give a big thanks to TBB and the team chat. He was able to spot for me for part of the race because he got wrecked out. He got yeeted into the grandstands I saw in that 28 machine, but sadly, but he got P27. Luckily, though, he's going to make the playoffs no matter what. I was definitely racing for the playoffs. I wanted to not only make sure that I got in, but I wanted to show everyone too that I'm supposed to be in. So I wanted to try to kind of show a lot of people what I'm trying to do here in the Xfinity series, and it's try to race a lot better and cleaner here.
Well, real quick, you talked about deserving to be in. John pointed something out to me, and as soon as he said it, it made absolute perfect sense to me. John, if you want to tell her what you said about her driving style to you.
You know, so earlier on, Tony and I, our cameras weren't as connected as they should be. So I was just kind of following around with drivers and watching we'll call it the cuttiness, and how much wheel back and forth they're putting into the cars. And you were very stable, very smooth, not a lot of input, which impressed me. It's hard to do IRL, let alone virtually. And I was really impressed. And then Tony brought up a good point after that. If you would like to go ahead, Tony.
Well, I reminded him that over in the real world, your 9 to 5, if you will, is an over-the-road truck driver driving lots of grocery products, and you have to be steady on the wheel to haul those loads.
Yeah, and then we're approaching the time of year where you've got to be extra steady behind the wheel, or else you're going to jackknife it, right? So, yeah, I'm used to slow and steady, and then I just haven't had a machine to make it toward the closing laps to race fast, and it was nice. It was a nice change to today for sure to be able to do that, and I also want to give a big shout out to my teammate in the 38 car, Angel Hernandez. When I snuck down below him, he could have easily taken me out, but it was a great awareness on his part. When I slid up a little bit in front of him because I had such a run and go, he could have easily, not lifted, but he did. And I just want to give a big shout out to Angel for not taking me out on that, and appreciate his understanding on what I was trying to do. But 2 RSS cars in the top 5, definitely a big win for our team. And I was kind of rooting for Angel to win the race, because he could have put RSS, all 3 of us, in the playoffs. But Skylar, unfortunately, I think he's so far deep down in the points, even with the win, he's not going to be able to make it. So, right. But a good win to Skylar, though. Definitely a good win to Skylar, and good race to everyone out there for racing clean. I did get on the radio a few times and reminded people that there's still 75 laps to go, still 50 laps to go. Let's not race 4 wide, and let's not try the 3 wide stuff yet. And for the most part, they were listening, and we cut the cautions down quite a bit. So I'm pretty proud of the guys for cleaning their shows up quite a bit out there today. And to show you guys too on camera that this series is a more kind of what iSNF is supposed to be. Our Cup series has gotten quite a bit out of hand with cautions and people not respecting each other on the track like they should be. You saw a lot of what it should be today here in the Xfinity series, and that's why I really wanted to make sure that it got broadcasted, because I knew that it was going to be something for us to showcase. So if you're out there watching and you're looking for a good clean league to join iSNF. We'll put you in an Xfinity car, get you saddled up and out there. But we're not looking for just anybody, though. We want some good, respectful, clean drivers out there, and we'll continue to build on that. So good race, guys, and hopefully it was fun to watch in the booth as well. And just to get back to you really quick on the the steadiness of the wheel one more time too, is I did notice that as I was passing people out there, their front wheels were going back and forth, almost like if it was a dirt track. And I was wondering why I wasn't doing that. And I think it's just because the way that I enter the corners, there's sometimes I'll actually wear out the right rear tire more than I will the right front, because of the steadiness of the, I'm kind of wiggling the back end more than I am the front end. And that might be what saved me at the end of the day too, just on tire wear. So
you were definitely one of the fastest cars from center out at the tail end of this race.
I was wondering why in TBB, when he was in the booth, in the spotter stand with me, he was wondering why everybody was going so slow in the spots and I was so fast. That's probably explains it, because I know I was racing Curtis, and it was real easy for me to get past Curtis Kelly on certain parts of the speedway, and then not so much on the others, because I think it was just the way he was entering the corners and exiting was night and day difference from my style. So, and I know Bob Wyckoff out there, hats off to him too. He was giving me a good clean race earlier in the day as well, and we were kind of do more of the same too. So, but
so it's announcement time now.
yeah,
The field of 12 has been set.
okay.
Alex O'Rildson, Curtis Kelly, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Charles Robertson, and Christian Delgado all in with at least one win.
Okay. Yep.
James Bowles, Christian Malshrek, yourself, AJ Green, Bjorn Brostrom, Steven Sear, and Jason Ricketts all in on points.
Okay. And is that even with the stage points added to the mix, or?
Yes. Let me double check.
Who did the math?
I did.
Oh.
And it all depends on where Jason Ricketts finished.
Jason Ricketts had a good race. He got P6.
Yeah.
From what? Yeah.
So,
yeah, he was.
Yeah. Jason Ricketts, the last one in.
All right, Jason. Another Ford. Yeah, baby. FORD.
Found on road day.
Playoffs. First on race day, baby. That's what I'm saying.
You know what happens when you spell Ford backwards, right, Rhea?
Means
driver returns on foot.
No. I would rather push a Ford than drive a Yoda. I'll just say that.
All right.
Most of the time, you have to push.
We're doing this. Hang on. If we're doing this, you know why you see Fords breaking down? That's because Chevy and Dodge have destroyed themselves, and they're no longer on the road anymore. But the old Ford is still there.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I don't see old 90s Chevy trucks run around, but I see 95 Fords all the freaking time. I can't remember the last time I saw a 90s Silverado, especially up here in the north.
That's true.
The guy in the apartment next to me drives a 1986 Chevy square body.
But he probably parks it in the garage for 6 months out of the year.
Oh, no, he plows with it.
It's one of the few, Tony.
Any car will last a while as long as you take good care of it. But that is going to about do it for us tonight. Take a quick look at our finishing order. Skylar Carnes, Alex Elson, AJ Green, Rhea Ferris, Angel Hernandez, your top 5. Jason Ricketts, Matty Moniak, Charles Robertson, James Bowles, Mike Iskandar, your top 10. Chris V comes up one spot short of being able to punch his ticket into the first round of the race of the round of 12. Steven Sear in 12th, Curtis Kelly, Joey Maines, Christian Delgado running out your top 15. Jeff Weimer, Colin Ziemer, and Brian Chu, your top 18. John?
All right, coming home 19th is, 20th. You're showing 18, Brian Chu. I'm showing 19th for Brian Chu. 20th, Colin Ziemer. 21st, Derek Cook, another driver who had to win to get in. It didn't quite work out for him. Brian Treadwell, 22nd. 23rd is Thomas Stanley. 24th, Jackson Carr. John Hopley, another driver, win and get in. Didn't pan out the way he wanted. He was up front for a little bit, Tony.
Yes,
I remember a couple laps where he was leading. But
impressive run early.
Ultimately comes home 25th. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, another fast driver, not getting a finish that he potentially deserved in 26th. Zachary Phillips, Michigan driver, not even 2 laps after I said, let's root for this guy, he gets turned. Not even 2 laps. Comes home 27th. Really, it was a good drive. He was up in the top 6, I believe, when that happened. 28th is Ricky Hudges. 29th, Bob Weinkoff, who had an impressive run early that you mentioned multiple times, Tony. At one point, he was the highest mover.
Ricky Hudgens was having one heck of a race, too, until he got knocked out. Man, he was having a really good race.
And he comes home 29th.
Yeah.
30th is Casey Tomlinson. 31st as Clarence Prince, and then going to be finishing 32nd is going to be
Christian Malcherik.
Malcherik. And he showed some there's some speed there, and I don't remember. Oh, I do remember. I do remember the instance with the 91 real early. That was so the 91 and James and the 78. So Christian and James Bowles. There's the spin early, which eliminated the 91.
And Malcherik, I'll tell you why he's got speed early, is his first race with the league was at Michigan. He did well there, didn't quite put it on the podium, but had a strong showing at Michigan. And he drives in the real Euro NASCAR, the Monster Energy car over there. And I don't know about both of you, but I am definitely looking forward to their season opener coming up this year, as they are going to be racing on an ice course.
I really want to fly and go to that. I so want to go to that. Will someone buy my
I'd
ticket?
rather watch it from the privacy of a hotel room, or
No.
maybe be there for the parties, but not at the actual event, freezing your backside off.
Oh, I wouldn't be freezing. That's why.
Oh, that's right. You have Carhartts.
No, it's just in my bloodline. They're racing in my tribal grounds. I'm a descendant of the reservation culture in which they're racing on for that event. So
Gotcha.
I really want to go to it.
That would be cool then. That would be very cool.
Pun intended, right?
But that is going to about do it for us tonight here. Be sure to join us next week at a special start time again, 3 p.m., as we bring you the iSNF Sunday Night Fever Cup Series as they return for the World 600. For Miss Rhea Ferris, for Mr. Jonathan Leach, this is Tony Trapasser. Remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that until we meet again and as you walk down the road of life this week, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.